Okay, let's start building our maze game. Now the first thing we need to do is to create the background, or the walls, let's say, for the game. So we're going to go down to the stage, to the backdrop, right down here, and I'm going to go down to New Backdrop, and I'm going to hit the paintbrush icon, which is Paint New Backdrop. So here we go. Now, we went over this a little bit in the previous lecture when we did the circle. So I showed you a little bit about the Paint Editor's platform right here. And in today's lesson, we're going to start creating the backdrop for the maze game. So let's start building out some walls. So what I'm going to do is grab this rectangle, and we're going to make sure down here that it's selected to fill it with color instead of just outlining it. This will be just outlining it in color. We want it really solid walls, so we're going to have it filled with color. And I'm going to choose a color. We'll do pink. What we're doing is, again, grab the rectangle, filled it with a color from the swatch, and now we're going to start building out walls. I thought what we would do is maybe start the ball in the lower left corner and have it finish all the way up in somewhere in the upper right. So I'm going to start building out some walls by clicking and dragging. And there you go. You just do whatever you feel like doing. Just build some obstacles. That's really all we're doing right now. Because then we're going to create a little ball that's going to go around through it. So I don't want to make it too difficult because then our ball can't get through. But let's see, we're going to do, I'll do some more up here. You can do any size. Again, all I'm doing is clicking and dragging, and then you can click on it when you see all these handles, these squares around it. It means it can be moved. So we're just going to drag it over, make it look a little bit nicer. Let's see, I'm going to do another one up here, just to make it a little bit difficult. And I'll do another one down here. And I'm just doing whatever I feel is going to be somewhat challenging to whoever you're going to show this to. So we're going to do this. And I'll do one last one right up in here. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll start in the lower left and we'll work our way around until we get up to here. Okay, cool. So that is our stage. And as you can see, it was replicated over here. All right, we don't need this cat right now, so instead we're going to make a ball that we're going to have move around the maze. So I'm going to go down to my sprites. I'm going to right-click on the sprite, and that is on the Mac. It's going to hold down the Control key, which is to your left of your spacebar, while you're clicking on it, either by your mouse or the trackpad of a laptop. And this will bring up this menu, and we're going to hit the delete. Okay, now we're going to go into the sprites. Now we need to draw or paint a new sprite. So again, just like we did the backdrop, we're going to hit the paintbrush icon. And we're going to start building out our ball. This is pretty easy. We did this in the previous lesson. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to give it a different color. So let's do this sort of blue-green color. I'm going to go back over to our editor's palette, our Paint Editor's platform right here, and again, if you hold shift while you're clicking and dragging, you can get a perfect circle and then release. Now I want to show you something up here in this upper right corner. It's sort of a crosshair thing, this vertical and horizontal line. It's really important to know where the center of your sprite is because that helps in positioning. You know, we talked about X and Y positioning last time. Well, we need to know that, so we want to get the exact center of it. So I'm going to take that, and it just opens it up. And play around with this, because this, you could slide it all over here, but the object is to get the intersection of these, where these two meet. It doesn't have to be exact in this case, but get it right to the center of that ball, okay? And that's going to set the center point of it. And trust me, this will affect certain games if you're going to build out, because it won't really show the true center of the thing. But I just wanted to show you this, guys, because it is something that you really should pay attention to. Where is the center of your sprite? Okay, so now we have the sprite, as you can see over here, but I think we need to have something sort of like a goal, so that when it gets to this point, the ending point, it can react to it. It can do something. So I'm going to create another sprite, okay? So I'm going to go over to my paintbrush thing, and that's right here. It says Paint New Sprite. And I'm going to click the rectangle. I'm going to make sure it's a solid colored fill, and I'm going to do yellow for the goal. And I'm going to just drag out, make it like long enough so that it would cover this opening. So that looks about right. And I'm going to just put that in place. And right up about there. Okay, so it's a lot bigger than I needed, but it's fine because at least no matter where the ball is, it's got to cross over this yellow barrier. All right, so we've got our ball sprite. We have our backdrop, which is the walls, and we have our goal. Now it's time to start writing the scripts. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to focus on the ball sprite. Now, the first thing I also want to do is click on this eye icon in the ball sprite, and let's give it a name instead of just sprite 1. So we'll call it ball. Okay, and we're going to click the blue button to go back, and let's name the goal. So we're going to click on that, click on the eye, and let's call that goal. All right, that's good. We've done some housekeeping there. That looks good. Now let's start writing the scripts. So we go up to these tabs up here, and we're going to hit scripts. And notice that I'm highlighting the ball. Just make sure that you're not working on the goal scripts, because this is now highlighted. This will write out any actions that will take place with the goal. We don't want the goal really to do anything. We want the ball to do something. So we're going to start with the ball. So highlight the ball, and now let's start writing some scripts. Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to create an event. So when something happens, the ball can react to it. Pretty much the basic first step is when this green flag is clicked. And that's up in this corner over here. So that really starts your program. So that's always a good thing to say, okay, let's start this whole script running when the green flag is clicked. All right? Now, back in the previous lesson, I taught you how to determine the location of the sprites, right, with X and Y coordinates. When we click on this green flag, how about we have the ball automatically go to a starting position? So how do we figure that out? Well, let's take the ball, drag it right about, that looks like a good starting position. And then you can see over here where the cursor is, but a better way to do that is to go to the motions script right here. We did this in a previous lesson, so this is just a refresher. Scroll down, and let's turn on X and Y coordinates up here. So here we have ball, X position, and ball, Y position right here. See, it's preloaded, minus 210, minus 151. So that's the starting point for the ball. So what do we want to do? Well, when the flag is clicked, we're going to have the ball go to the position. And as you can see, this go to X and Y block is already preloaded with the current X and Y coordinates. So that makes it a lot easier. So when the flag is clicked, the ball is going to start there. Now, what was my piece of advice that I want to give all new coders? Test, test, test. Let's go up here and click the flag. See where it says click flag? We're going to go and click the flag. And boom, it goes back to the starting position. So we know that's working. All right? So now let's work on the directions of how the ball is going to move. Now, I think the best way to make this ball move is to use the arrow keys, which of course are on the right-hand side of your keyboard. And just to make things easier, the up arrow rather should move the ball up, and the right arrow should move it right, etc., etc. Down should move down, left should move left. So let's create that script. So we're going over to the events, and we're going to grab when a certain space or key is pressed. So I'm going to drag that out because that's an event that starts something off. And we'll do when. Let's start with the up arrow. So all you have to do is hit this little black arrow to the side and scroll down to the up arrow key. So this says when the up arrow key is pressed, let's have it move. Well, first let's point it in the right direction. So we're going to point it in the right direction. I know that seems funny because it's a ball and it's a circle, so you really can't tell which way it's pointed in, but it's really just telling you, you can think of it as saying, which direction am I going to move in? point in direction means which way am I headed? So we're going to have, if it's going to be the up arrow, so we're going to point in direction. We go over to this dialog box, click on this black arrow. Well, we want it to go up. So scroll down to the third one, and that's the up key, which changes it to a 0. And this is basically working on degrees, 0, 90, 180. You don't really have to worry about that right now. What we really just have to do, because they have little comments over here to say up, down, left, or right, that's really all you need to do at this point. Okay, so we've got the up arrow key. Now let's do that for the other 3 directions. So we're going to go and invent, and let's do the down arrow. When the down arrow is clicked, we're going to point in direction that is down. Okay? And again, drag it out. When the right arrow is pressed, we are going to point in the direction of right. And finally, you guessed it, I'm going to give it a little bit of room here. When the, let's see, what are we up to? Left arrow is pressed, we're going to point in the direction of left. Okay, that's simple enough. Now, what do we want to do when these arrows are clicked other than face the right direction? Well, let's have a move. I'm going to have a move about 10 steps. And really, if you just hold down the key, it'll continue to move in whatever direction you're going. But we need to have it say something. So 10 steps is just good enough. So we're going to do move 10 steps here, and move 10 steps here. And with the right arrow, again, move 10 steps. And in the left arrow, facing left, we'll move 10 steps. Okay, so we've put a lot out there on the scripts. I think it's time that we need to test it. So I'm just going to hit the stop button just to make sure nothing's running. I'm going to hit the green button, and you can't see this, but I'm going to hit my right key continuously, and it goes. And now I'm going to hit my up key, and I'm going to hit my left key. I'm going to show you something though. I'm going to hit my down key. Look, it completely ignores the walls. Doesn't matter where I'm going, just la-di-da, and it's ignoring all the walls we built. So what do you think we need to do now? Well, we need to write something so when it reacts to the walls, it won't go through it. It somehow is stopped. So let's start doing that now. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce you to a concept of an if statement. That means if something happens, an event will occur. Okay, so if you see ice cream, you say, that's good ice cream. That's sort of an if statement. If you see mud, you say, oh, yuck, dirty. So that's an if statement. And we'll get into if-else statements and if-else, if-else statements. But the if statement is really a cornerstone of all programming languages. So it's important that you understand the concept of an if statement, because it lets you have 2 actors or sprites interact with each other. So I'm going to start right now, and we're going to go pull out a control. Okay, so we're going over to our block palette, going to hit the control button, and we're going to hit grab a forever. Let's see, here it is, forever. And I'm going to attach it to, again, let me just give myself some room here. That will give us, and again, to do that, you just grab the top block and you can drag the entire stack down. And if you grab the bottom blocks, it just really separates them, and that's fine. So that's a great way to know how to move things around, just to give yourself some more room. So when we click the green flag, we're going to go to the beginning, and we're going to have a condition called forever. That means I always want this to happen. Not just once, but always. As soon as this program has started by the clicking of the flag, this is going to happen. So we had the forever thing, and now we're going to need an if statement. And as you can see, as I drag it in there, it's going to nestle right in. See that white line? It's going to nestle right in there. If something happens, then this action occurs. And I know it seems really confusing right now, but we're going to walk through this, and we're going to always continually use this in future tutorials. So we're going to do this really nice and easy. We're going to go over to the sensing, which is this light blue palette, and we're going to say If this blue ball, I'm going to grab this, so if this sprite, see how that goes over there? See that white highlight? That means we're going to drop it right in. If the sprite, called the ball, is touching the color pink. I'm going to do that. Sometimes it comes preloaded. See how I do? Watch it. I'm scrolling over. Now it's on white. And if I scroll over a different color, it changes to that color. Well, we want it to react to the pink walls. So I'm going to say, if it's touching the color pink, we're going to have it move backwards a little bit. So it'll appear as if it's bouncing against the wall. Go back to the motion. Grab a move block. And 10 steps is fine. I actually want to do 15 steps. But in order to move backwards, what do you think we need to do? Well, we need to have a negative number, so negative 15. Okay, so far so good. Let's run this and see what happens. Okay, click the green flag. It goes back. I'm going to use my key to the right. Boom, see that? It's interacting with the pink wall. And I can move my up key. And it keeps doing the same thing. And I continue to go around. Let's get this moving around here. If you notice, look at the top. You can see the X and Y coordinates changed. That'll help you get used to understanding where the ball is in relationship to the backdrop. Okay, we're rounding the corner, and it is touching the goal. Well, that's all well and good, but nothing's happening. Well, we need to start writing that script. And I think what we should do is when the ball crosses or touches the yellow color, we'll make it say something. So we've done saying, phrases in the first lesson. We've done touching color in this statement here. So I think we can probably figure that out, right? Now, always when it crosses the yellow line, we want it to do something. I'm going to put this in the forever block. I'm going to grab an if statement. So I'm going to grab the control, and I'm going to just tuck it in with the other if statement, okay? If the ball sprite touches the yellow, and that is under the sensing. We're going to bring that over to here, just like we did up above, and we wait for the white highlights, and we drop that in. If this sprite is touching the color, now see this preloaded with this darker purple, so all you have to do is tap on that. Move it over to find the yellow color. There we go. So if our ball is touching the yellow, so we got that, that's perfect. Let's make it say something. How about you win? So we'll go over to the motion, the looks, which is that purple, and we're going to drag out this say hello for 2 seconds block, which you've seen before, and we're going to say, you win, exclamation point. All right, so let's go over this again. Forever, that means always. After we've clicked this green flag, 2 things we want it to happen. Actually, 3 things. We want it to go to the starting position. Then we want it to react with the walls, which are pink. And what action do we want it to do? Well, we want it to move back 15 steps. So it's never going to be able to move forward. It's going to look like it's bouncing off the walls. What else do we want it to do? Well, we want it to react to the goal, which is yellow. So if it's touching the yellow, we want it to say, you win. And the rest really are reactions on how to move the ball in directions. So if you're ready, let's hit the stop button, make sure everything's stopped running, and we'll hit the green. Let's play this. So I'm going to go up. I can either hit it one button at a time, just keep clicking, or I can just press and hold. And I'm going to go through here. And you can get really creative. Once you get more and more familiar, you can put in some other obstacles in here that certain things will happen. They might collect points. Okay, so we're getting toward the goal. Ta-da! Just as I'm touching it, says, you win. All right? So that's the maze game. We needed to know the X and Y coordinates. we were introduced to if statements, as I said, which is a really important thing to know in any kind of computer programming, really. There's actually called if-else statements, or if-then, if you want to refer to that. But we'll get over those more and more. Like I said, it's important that you know those. All right, great. I hope you enjoy making your own maze game, and I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.